funding rates lie when you only watch one exchange. Here's the scenario that breaks single venue agents. Your LLM trading agent calls Hyperliquid, reads a BTC funding rate of positive 0.012% and concludes longs are paying premium, a bullish lean. It builds a regime thesis and cues its policy branch. What the agent doesn't see: Binance shows negative 0.008% for the same asset in the same hour. One venue says longs are overheated. The other says shorts are paying to stay short. Same asset, same hour. Structurally opposite signals. That gap is not noise. It is a sentiment fracture, invisible to any agent reading a single exchange, and exactly the kind of structural information that separates a calibrated thesis from a blind guess. AlgoVault's cross-venue intelligence layer closes that gap. 89.7% PFE win rate across 64,801 plus verified calls, Merkle-anchored on base L2, and as of this integration, that verdict draws from both Hyperliquid and Binance in a single MCP tool call. Most crypto analytics tools are built around one exchange. That is not a failing, it is a scoping decision. Scrape the funding endpoint, normalize the symbol names, expose a tool call, ship it. Genuinely useful for development. The problem surfaces when agents need to reason about market structure rather than raw price. Funding rates are not neutral readings. They encode the balance of speculative pressure between longs and shorts at a specific venue. When that balance reads differently across venues, the divergence itself is load-bearing information. A positive funding rate on Hyperliquid with a negative rate on Binance for the same asset means Hyperliquid native participants are net long while Binance participants are net short at the same moment. That is a contested funding picture, and a coherent agent needs to know the picture is contested before it sizes a position. Building multi-venue awareness from scratch is harder than adding a second API call. Timestamp granularity is the first obstacle. Hyperliquid publishes funding every hour. Binance publishes on hour cycles at midnight, 8 AM and 4 PM UTC. Comparing a 2 PM Hyperliquid rate to an 8 AM Binance rate produces a divergence number that is 6 hours stale on one side. Symbol mapping is the second problem. This USD on Hyperliquid maps to BFS on Binance, but the mapping is not universal. Some Hyperliquid native perps have no Binance equivalent, and a naive join silently drops assets. Rate budget management is the third. An agent loop firing every minute will breach upstream quota limits inside an hour without per-venue caching. Single exchange tools solve none of this. They expose one venue's number and leave all reconciliation to the developer. AlgoVault's Hyperliquid plus Binance pair solves it at the infrastructure layer, not in your agent loop. Binance is AlgoVault's first cross-venue addition on top of the Hyperliquid foundation, and the sequencing is deliberate. Hyperliquid has always been the highest signal-native venue, the source from which the composite verdict was first calibrated, and where the Merkle-verified track record was built. Adding Binance as a reference weight extends coverage without polluting the signal. When both venues agree, the composite verdict gains confidence. When they diverge, a divergence flag fires in the response and agents receive an explicit signal that the funding picture is contested. AlgoVault does not average away that tension, it surfaces it as a named field. The response shape makes this concrete. One MCP call to get trade signal returns the composite verdict plus an underscore AlgoVault metadata block containing the cross-venue section. Inside, the list of venues that contributed data, the divergence value in basis points and a Boolean divergence flag. The divergence field in basis points is the number your agent should gate on. When it exceeds your threshold, position sizing should reflect the contested picture. Venue reconciliation, timestamp resampling, and symbol normalization all happen server-side. The agent loop stays clean. 3 pitfalls are worth naming before you deploy. First, coverage is asset-specific. Some Hyperliquid native perps have no Binance equivalent, so the coverage field inside the cross-venue block lists which venues actually contributed data for the requested asset. If only one venue is present, the divergence computation was skipped and the flag is meaningless. Second, timestamp granularity still matters at the strategy level. AlgoVault resamples Hyperliquid into 8-hour cohorts for the cross-venue comparison, correct for detecting structural divergence, but if your strategy depends on Hyperliquid's 1-hour native resolution, use the 1-hour timeframe parameter and treat the cross-venue block as a secondary confirmation. Third, the standalone Get cross-venue funding tool is shipping with this integration wave. If your client reports tool not found, pull the latest AlgoVault skills tag. The performance picture is still forming. With Binance added, signals are now available across 717 plus assets in 9 time frames spanning AlgoVault's 5 supported venues. In a 14-day pre-release shadow cohort, divergence lagged signals, those with divergence above 5 basis points, showed higher PFE win rates than the single venue baseline across BCF and SOL. Full cohort metrics will be published once the shadow batch clears Merkle verification, expected by the Bybit integration post on May 8. The verified baseline remains 89.7% PFE win rate across 64,801 plus verified calls, Merkle-anchored on base L2. That is an on-chain proof, not a marketing claim. Every batch is independently verifiable on base. This integration is the architectural foundation for what comes next. With 2 venues, divergence is binary, Venues agree or they do not. Bybit adds a third venue on May 8th. OKX follows on May 15th. Bitget on May 22nd. With 4 venues, the divergence signal becomes a weighted consensus across the full perpetual market. The cross-venue moat post on May 26th will establish the picture once all integrations land. The track record is public and Merkle-verified. Read it before committing to any analytic layer. AlgoVault.com track record. Add cross-venue intelligence to your agent in 30 seconds at AlgoVault.com docs. 100 free calls per month. Hold never cost. The brain layer for AI trading agents is already live.